Trying to pause it. Hi, dudes. How's everyone doing? I hope you can hear me okay. Yes, you are a moderator now for DV. You have proven yourself worthy to join the King's Guard. But leave them. We don't ban people for being dissenters. We ban them for trolling. There is a difference. Okay, trolling is when people, spam, just want to be, very, want to just kind of create dissent and destroy the discussion. That them that's a troll. We ban them, but we don't ban a single comment of dissent. We ain't scared of them like they're scared of us. They're terrified of us, by the way, guys. You do know that. I don't know why. My channel's tiny. I have a tiny little channel. Well, this anyway. I'm not sure how my internet's going to hold up today as well. I hope it does. But yeah, I've got a tiny little channel. Yeah, it's hard, isn't it, King's Guard? Yeah, I've got a tiny little channel, and all I'm doing is providing a single voice of balance to the what is the nonsense that is being perpetuated by the media. And that's what today's live stream is for. I think it's important to note that having reviewed, because I don't know how many of you guys have asked yourself the question, what has Jason Arday done? And you'd ask yourself, you'd be right to ask yourself that question, because every single outlet that's covered this has raised different accusations. You'll note that there's no single line of accusations that have been raised. Some creators, extremely lazy ones, have gone as far as saying he has no qualifications and all of his certificates are fake, which is obviously provably incorrect. Others have relented to the fact that the plagiarism claims haven't been upheld, and that's the truth, is that they haven't been upheld. He's not been found guilty of plagiarism anywhere. So they focus on the backstory, but once again they dissent the black backstory without any evidence. It's just scoff. That's it. It's kind of like, oh, and he claimed he raised 5 million for charity. Scoff. Well, that's not a refutation. You do realize that. Like, if you're going to scoff at the fact that he's claimed, or he doesn't claim, but people around him have claimed that he raised 5 million for charity, you're going to have to disprove that claim is true. You're gonna have to provide evidence to say, well, we saw this check that was submitted and blah. And by the way, for all/most of these things, Jason Arday has actually provided evidence that what he is saying is true. And guess what? They haven't published it, or they haven't given him any ear. And this is very deliberate. This is very deliberate, and this is exactly what they do to black people in the media always. This is exactly what they've been doing to Diane Abbott, for instance. This is a perfect analogy of Diane Abbott, who basically they vilify for anything that she says. And I think on one occasion she was in an interview with someone, and she said, you can't compare black racism with little hat people, anti-esthetism. Yeah, he says you can't compare them; they're completely different. And she was right in saying that. I think she should have stuck to her guns, but she kind of like, but she's saying they're different, which is a fair thing. Oh my god, there was an uproar. All the little hat people, how dare you say it's different? Are you comparing the Holocaust to what happened? Like, I was like, shut the hell up, man. You guys haven't even been through nothing. Respectfully. Yeah. I am saying that. Diane Abbott wouldn't say it, but I'll tell you right now. Yeah, I am saying it. Yeah. That little thing that you've fabricated and exaggerated and told the whole world, guess what? I don't think it was that big a deal. Was it horrible? Yes, it was. Okay. But we've all had a little something horrible happen to us. It wasn't unique. It wasn't uniquely horrible. Yeah. There was nothing uniquely horrible what happened to you. And since then, before then and since then, you've continued to operate as a part of the white race. So how can you claim that what happens to black people is the same as you when you are the white race? You operate sometimes in covert, sometimes overtly as white people. You are a part of white supremacy. I mean, these people are ridiculous. But anyway, Diane Abbott raised that point, and they completely came for her. I think Labour dropped her, and she had to go independent. I'm not sure if she's back with Labour now or whatever. But that's how bad it was. And bear in mind, this is Diane Abbott as the lady, was it? Mother of the house, the oldest standing MP, someone who they should all be respecting. Nope, you can't get no respect. You can't get no respect when you are black. You can't get no respect in this country. They'll treat you like, so what you'll find is they don't have to have any evidence of wrongdoing on your part. They just got to decide, have a little hunch that you've done something bad, and then they'll just hang you out to dry. Because like, it's funny because in that situation, it doesn't matter what she is. If she's turned around and had said, well, the racism that black people have is the same as what happens to Jews would have been upset. Oh my God, how dare you say it's the same? It's not the same. It's different. She turned around and said, actually, no, you can't compare the two. Racism that happens to black people is different from what happened to Jews. Oh my God, how dare you say it's different? So what answer would you like, Mr. Goldstein? What is it? What answer would you have preferred we give you, Mr. Cut? They don't care. They just want to be the victim all the time. There's always the perpetrators who want to be the victim. But anyway, that's an aside. I know I've just guaranteed that this stream won't be monetized by that little outburst, but whatever it is, who cares? What I'd like to do in this live stream today is to look at the comments. Someone said there were donors saying black women should be unalive because of what she said. Do you understand what I mean? Like, this is how sick this country is. And we know that's the case. What I'd like to do in today's live stream is actually review the accusations against Jason Arday. Because what you'll find is that most people in this case are just reacting to headlines. They're not reacting to content. They're not reacting to evidence. They're reacting to headlines, and then people are reacting to scoff. That's it. Headlines and scoff. Headline says, oh, plagiarist, fraud professor. And then they'll go into it and they'll be like, yeah, he claimed to did this. We don't believe he did it. Okay. And we think he plagiarized, although none of the institutions say he plagiarized. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, and by the way, he's black. Guilty. Guys, they have nothing. And I'm not just saying this to be my whole approach has been, let's focus on other elements, but I thought, let me look under the hood and let me have a really good kind of let me do a literature review, okay, or media review, I should say, of what the accusations are, what's been published against Jason Arday. And what shocked me is how little you have. I mean, if this was a court case, it would be thrown out. Maybe that's why it's not a court case, because there's nothing there. You couldn't even make it a court case. Yeah, because there's just no evidence. All it is conjecture, headlines, and scoff. Exactly what they used to do with Princess Di, exactly what they do when they pick a villain of the week, exactly what they do with Meghan Markle. It's just headline, conjecture, scoff, nothing else. And if you don't believe me, we're going to watch these people. And as we're watching, I'm going to let you listen, and then I'm going to pause, and I'm going to just simply ask you the question, what evidence have they provided for believing this? and you will find what I'm talking about. Okay, you will see it for yourself. So let me not be a dictator. Let me play, let us review together, and then I want you to judge. Do you think there is a strong case for there to be this amount of media selective outrage, outcry against Jason Arday? People hate him, and I don't even know why. They don't know why they hate him. That is quintessentially British media programming. If you was to go to the average Brit right now and say Jason Arday, oh my God, that's disgusting fraud. If you was to say, okay, so what exactly has he done that you don't like? Well, he's a fraud. He plagiarized. He claimed he ran a marathon. Okay. DEI, wokeness, death to wokeness. These people are morons. And this is the thing. They feign intelligence. They act like they're so clever. They sit there in their stupid little studios, scoffing and guffawing with their stupid conjecture, talking about academic process. They can't even follow basic journalistic process. They have no evidence for the claims that they make. Anyway, I've talked enough. Let's go into this. This is the first one. This is just the short, and we're gonna watch the longer version of the videos for a channel called Spikes, because actually it's not even loads of channels. It's kind of like a cabal of about half a dozen channels that have really gone for Dr. Arday. One of them's called Unheard, the other one's called Telegraph, this channel called Spiked. They've really gone for him. GB News obviously has done it. These are like, none of these are even news resources that you shouldn't even be really trusting that much. But anyway, it's a black person, so who cares? It's front page news. Let's get underway.
There's that cringe.
Oh, give me a shout if you hear this playing. Give me a shout if you hear this playing.
Worthy video of him meeting one of the head honchos at Cambridge University.
Hey, so good to see you.
Cringe-worthy video of him meeting one of the head honchos at Cambridge University.
Hey.
There's that cringe.
Guys, give me a 1 or 2 in the chat. I've pressed play a few times. Okay, someone said hearing. So did you hear the cringe-worthy? Why is it cringe-worthy? It's cringe-worthy because it's a black guy meeting a white woman and she's really impressed with him. Oh, it's cringe-worthy. It's so cringe-worthy. Cringe-worthy is not a crime. This is just your stupid opinion that no one's even asked for. Let's carry on.
One of the head honchos at Cambridge University.
Hey, so good to see you.
You are the best in the world in terms of the research that you do.
You are the best in the.
And she's talking about his research into critical race theory, actually, which is actually, his research is actually quite good. Yeah, that's why he has published books and he has academic papers that have been published, in addition to his PhD, none of which, by the way, have been pulled for plagiarism. Let's continue.
The world and what you do. This is probably true. It could be true because everyone in this field is full of, frankly.
Why did it?
Scoff, 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 scoff. Did you see that? All opinion, no data, no nothing. Just scoff. Oh, the best of the world. Oh, cringe-worthy. Not really. I thought it was quite a nice interview, heartwarming, and he's got quite nice work that he put out. Let's
take so long for Cambridge either to notice or at least accept that what they had lumbered themselves with was a cross between like Ibram X. Kendi and Jay from the Inbetweeners, you know. At least.
Well, they didn't accept anything. He resigned. Yeah, you're not going to rewrite history, to be clear. He resigned. Dr. Arday resigned. He was not fired. Cambridge University, he didn't overcome or realize everything or come to an enlightening that they'd hired some scam artists. This is all conjecture.
At least in the Inbetweeners, no one actually believed Jay when he said he was not.
I mean, look at this guy. His glasses have to be. You have to understand this dislike and this hatred comes from somewhere. When they see a Dr. Arday, yeah, who is younger than them, more articulate than them, more successful than them, has overcome so much in terms of like disabilities, you know, special needs and disability, and doing so well, and then you're sitting there with your times 20 prescription magnifying glasses. Of course you're gonna, he's not as smart as me, and
Nosh off at the school play and once knocked a cow out with one punch, apart from, you know, Neil.
You know, I went to university at 20, but I had the reading age of a 9-year-old.
Really? I mean, is that possible?
Well, it's very possible, considering that he was illiterate until, is it 18, he said? So yes, he would have had a very low reading age, but it would have increased very fast. And that's one of the things that makes him a bit of a phenom. Now, once again, you can't substantiate or deny this, but at the same time, he has provided. If this wasn't true, if it was an absolute lie, do you not think they would have had an entire body of teachers who would have come out and refuted him? High school teachers, they would have all said, no, Jason's lying. In fact, the opposite is true. He's actually provided his academic references to prove this. He's been in interviews with his speech therapist, okay, and everyone's ignored them. And yet some stupid video goes viral of some guy who wants some clout chase, and go, oh, I used to know the Ardays back in the day. Don't talk to me, man. I used to know the Ardays. Me and the Ardays used to, well, he was a chatty patty, man. He was a chatty. Some stupid attention-seeking guy. Like, come on. Why does he get more credence than the dozens of people that took Jason Arday through education who haven't come around and refuted the story?
Yeah, it is. There are now 2 reports of a journalist and an academic who had the police called on them for harassment for poking around.
No. Okay, so no one's going to call the police on you, and the police aren't going to respond to poking around. Yeah, no one knows if you're poking around. Okay, any journalist can poke around. It's called checking Google or checking libraries. If someone's called the police on you, that means you are harassing them. That means you will probably turn up to places you shouldn't be. That means that you were overstepping the marks of journalism. No one can stop you from Googling or researching or even publishing, you know, things, as long as you're careful of your wording. No one can stop you from doing that. So this is another lie. Yeah, this is another lie. What they do is lie constantly.
Is questionable citations, shall we say.
A 4 months investigation. Why was that necessary, Commissioner?
We dropped the ball on that one, Nick. Let's not sort of beat about the bush.
There's that.
They're so proud of themselves. Let's watch the longer version of that. I'll try not to interject so much into this because I want you to read it and to watch it. But as you're watching it, I need you to just take note of how much opinion is in here versus fact, how much substantiation is taking place versus conjecture, and how much of this is just bad-spirited, bad faith, unreasonable dislike of an individual they have no reason to dislike in the first place. Let's listen to these guys waffle on, because this literally is what this is. This is a waffle on. They're going to waffle on without any evidence of any of the stuff they say. But, you know, it's kind of like, well, we've decided it's so, so it's so. But I want you to have a listen and tell me how substantiated their stupid discussion is to you.
Is just really revealing of the way that there is this intellectual and also identity politics rot at the heart of academia.
What they lumbered themselves with was a cross between like Ibram X. Kendi and Jay from the In-Betweeners.
I would have the world and I'd have it spinning on this axis of love.
There's some senses in Zuta are completely overwhelmed.
For the time being, Europe, I think, has definitely.
So just that's Spike's editor, Tom Slater.
Hello.
And from MCC Brussels, Jacob Reynolds. Hi, thanks for having me. On the pod today will be.
And oh God, internet's a bit pokey, guys. Apologies about that. I'm not sure how much you missed. But respectfully, look at this fella, yeah? And I'm not one of these people to kind of like body shame or this, that, and the other. Okay, you can do what you want with your life, but I do find it's notable that the people who get in most glee out of this aren't specimens. You know, I've said it before. You notice that the people who tend to be, who hold these opinions, these kind of group think opinions, you know, this where they really need to belong to a group, you know, this kind of like missionary in group. Really, oh, no. I think my internet's playing out. Please, damn it. People are noticing the bad internet. I don't know what's going on with the internet, to be honest with you. It shouldn't be that bad. Let's hope that I don't know why it's like that, to be honest with you. Yeah, so I said you would have noticed about the kind of like the physical attributes of these people tend to be people who will benefit from being part of a dominant group. They'll benefit from group identity because their individual identity is so lacking. Their individual identity is so questionable. And because their individual identity really lacks, they have to cleave onto the group. And so opportunities like this to pull down a competitor outgroup cannot be missed. They have to take it with both hands, you know. Fred Baluba says, stop stealing your neighbor's Wi-Fi. I swear I'm not. I was actually thinking today to plug a cable in. I was got to buy a nice long cable. Yeah. Let me know, guys, if it gets unbearable. It's no harm. We can reschedule. I've actually got a video that I'm going to be posting today anyway, and we could always reschedule this because I think this is an important video for us to watch through. Let's see how it goes. But you know, like I said, just, you know, look at the individuals who are criticizing him. None of them are specimens, and that's why they have to find fault. Finding fault in someone rather than yourself is a lot easier. It's a much easier thing to do, isn't it?
In Suter, little. The Jason Arday affair has.
I think I've lost the internet again. Okay, guys, I'm not sure if we're gonna make it. Let me try. I'm gonna try one fix. Because this internet is actually unbearably bad. But I'm gonna try one fix. Give me a sec. I was trying to find a cable. It's not long enough. I do have a cable, but it's not long enough. I should have gone out and bought one today and followed my gut feeling. What do you think, guys? Should I tell me how it is now? Give me some feedback right now. Is it sounding and looking decent, or should I reschedule? It's not a harm. It's no like big deal. I can reschedule if it needs to be. Let me know, guys, in the chat. Give me some feedback. There's 23 of us in the house. It's a decent crowd. What do you think? Should I stay or should I go now? All right, one more go. Let's go. All right, let's give it a try. Okay, let me leave this door open. That might help. Might help the Wi-Fi. All right, cool. Someone said it seems okay. Let's get it going again.
The crisis in Suter, and we'll pay tribute to the late, great Rod Liddell. So the Jason Arday affair has kept us entertained for many, many weeks. This is the Cambridge professor, Cambridge's young.
Entertained is an interesting choice of words there. Literally destroying someone's life, and it's kept them entertained for the last couple of weeks. Interesting how these people's minds work, isn't it?
Youngest ever black chair, who has now resigned following weeks and weeks of accusations of plagiarism and fabulism. Tom, do you want to take us back to the beginning a little bit for those people who haven't followed the story in as much detail and with as much glee as some of us may?
Yeah.
Glee. Did you hear that? Follow the story with as much. He said that, not me. So I first of all said entertain. I said that's a weird choice of words. He said follow the story with as much glee. Glee is like like extreme happiness. Why would it make you gleeful for someone's life to get destroyed like this? Why is it making you and it's not like they've proven anything. It's just that they're so happy that he's being embarrassed. Like, there's something wrong with these people. There's something wrong with these people. This is a difference. Do you understand? This is a difference. You shouldn't feel someone being brought down should never be a situation where it brings you glee, unless they're a particularly nasty person. You know, if it was a particularly nasty person, I get that. But when it's just someone who's out there, like I was talking about William O'Reilly, who is a vile human being, but because his kind of like vileness hasn't really affected me, I wouldn't be gleeful if he was brought down. I'd more be kind of like, well, it's good that someone like that is removed.
No, I am a little bit sad that it's over, at least in this current period, because it has been the kind of mother of all silly season stories, and equal parts silly, absurd, and sinister. I think it's fair.
By the way, I'm saying this, guys, I'm not shocked. Anyone who's British is not shocked. This is quintessential British media. This is what they're like. They are all like this. They're vile people. They love to destroy people's lives, and like I said, they normally like to push scandals like this to a fatal conclusion. What they're looking for is for the person, the target, whoever that person is, to no longer be breathing at the end of it. And then they'll go, oh, we never intended for this to happen. Vile, vile, vile human beings.
So, as you say, Jason Arday made a lot of headlines back in 2023 when he was appointed at Cambridge University in the sociology department as a professor in the sociology of education. Their youngest black professor, aged.
And respectfully, just do up your top button. Yeah, if you're gonna do that whole open shirt Lothario thing, you gotta have some top cut. Yeah, you need some top cut. You need to go to the gym. That you can't just be flashing the pancake like that, my bro, my G, man.
37, goes on this enormous media tour, guest edits the Today program, gets profiled on Good Morning America, and is inspirational, supposedly, not simply because of his age, because he was a young black professor, but also because of his backstory. The fact that, as he tells it, he, because of autism and other conditions, wasn't able to speak until aged 11, wasn't able to read or write until 18, miraculously seems to have gone to university just 2 years after having learned to read and write, and then very quickly climbs up the academic ranks, peddling.
And it is miraculous. I think that's the whole thing. It is miraculous. That's what bothers them. And by the way, this kind of like, oh, this whole story, none of this has been disproven. These are very easy things to disprove. Do you know how easy it is to disprove someone who claims they were illiterate until 18? Do you know how easy that is to prove? You literally just go to the high school teachers. If he was talking for a high school, that is, if he's gone to a normal state school, 1,000 witnesses in terms of students and probably over 100 witnesses in terms of teacher cohort, who could come out at any moment and say, Jason Arday is lying. We all remember. Do you not think his entire high school will be like, yo, Jason, why did it take this guy from his primary school, not high school, his primary school, to come out and be like, Jason Arday was a child? Clearly, he's lying. Clearly, the guy who's making the claim about Jason Arday chatting is a liar, because we have a high school of, hundreds, if not more than 1,000 people, and loads of teachers, scores of teachers, none of them have come out to refute this story. It's not a hard story to refute. So once again, they're going to rely on their most hard bit of evidence, which is scoff. Oh, he said this. Oh, he said that. Oh.
If we're being honest, a kind of sub-Teen Vogue level of critical race theory, inveighing against the racism of Britpop and Home and Away, as Kathleen Stock has noted in Unheard recently.
Okay, so, and that is true. So he's done papers where he's, been very creative. A lot of these papers come quite highly regarded, just because you have to understand, when it comes to anything to do with the word race, British people are going to scoff. They're going to say, this is nonsense, this is that, oh, it's really bad, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of the time, these people aren't even educated enough to be able to write or to author a book. But they're going to scoff because they hate the subject of race. They hate it vehemently, and so they're gonna scoff. So him talking about, oh, he did this, that doesn't mean anything. You're just giving words. Oh, he related to Britpop and Home and Away and Neighbours. So was it a good book? What kind of reviews did it get? Like general reviews, not from Kathleen Stock, who was trying to do a hack job. Was the book well written? Was it well regarded? Did it tackle some challenging subjects? You can't answer any of that, because you're just here for conjecture and scoff. which is all you have.
Particularly good scholarship, dare I say it. But then what was unearthed was the fact that it wasn't just that the scholarship wasn't any good, but some of it might have, allegedly.
It wasn't just that the scholarship wasn't any good. Who said it wasn't any good? That's your opinion. Once again, these are opinions. They're opining that it's not good. That's very subjective. It's not objective that they weren't good. In fact, if they weren't good, he wouldn't have sold multiple books and had another book deal on the way. He wouldn't have had a £1.4 million book deal if his books were no good. So what are you talking about, mate? What is your... I'd like to see what your bibliography is like.
Been plagiarized. Got to be a little bit careful what we say because he's Lloyd up to his eyeballs still. But the Telegraph, as it in the end, found 100 passages from his PhD thesis, which seemed to have been lifted or very likely changed from another PhD thesis from a student at Brunel, and then
lifted or very likely changed. Once again, another claim of plagiarism that hasn't been upheld by any institution. Another claim of plagiarism that hasn't been upheld by any institution.
Came a lot of scrutiny of his backstory, not his kind of neurodivergent origin story, which has been not so much scrutiny of, but his long and illustrious CV and list of extracurricular activities. I mean, he claimed that he'd run 30 marathons and something like 30.
So, by the way, that's not a crime to have a long and illustrious CV of extracurricular activities. That's not a crime. In fact, before you guys turned it and made it sound like it was a crime, before you guys tried to make the claim that your place in university is linked to nothing but your grades, we all knew, who've actually gone through the university and academic system, that you always need a long and illustrious list of academic activities to get the eye of some of the best institutions. They like to see people who have done more with their life than just study. That is the protocol. You do realize that, right?
5 days, he claimed to have raised a staggering £5.5 million for charity. He claimed to be on a television show 7 Up that actually began 20 years before he was born. I mean, you might as well have claimed to have beaten.
So staggering £5.5 million. Once again, conjecture, scoff, no evidence against that. He's not able to say, well, he claimed to raise that, but we've proven that it's actually not true because we found X and Y receipts and blah blah blah, and in the end he only raised 450,000. You can't say that because you don't know if it's true or not. It's just staggering to you because you, with your useless self, has probably never raised money for charity at all. Yeah, you've probably been given everything in life and you've never even thought of doing something for someone else that you haven't been paid for. So respectfully, you don't need to go there.
The land speed record, won Rear of the Year 4 times, and translated all of Shakespeare into Playing on Age 9. I mean, it was that.
Okay, no, that's just, so what he's doing here is just a bit of hyperbole, trying to be funny with it. Absolutely ridiculous, because he knows that what he's just said, none of that sounded that extreme. Raising 5.5 million for charity, it's very possible. And actually, Jason Arday had other people advocate that he did that. Just because you can't do it, just because you haven't done it, and just because you wouldn't do it, don't project your own insecurities and your inabilities onto other people.
Fantastical,
yeah,
shall we say. He has since qualified some of those claims, and I think
he has since qualified those claims. Notice I'll just throw that out there. That means you're wrong. So he has since qualified those claims. So why are you mentioning them? If they've been qualified, why are you mentioning them?
More kind of shocking element of this is that some of the allegations that he's made about pretty horrendous racist intimidation he claims to have suffered has also, shall we say, been called into question. There's a
So he's received racism, and the British public journalists are calling it into question. That's never happened before, is it? That doesn't sound like. Has there ever been a case where a black person has said they've been a victim of racism and the British public has accepted it? Has it ever gone well? In the history of all the black British people who are on my stream right now, has there ever been a situation where, as a black Brit, someone in the media, someone in a position of prominence has said, I received racism here, and then the British public went, oh, that's awful, we should do something about it? Or is it normally a case of, I received racism here, oh my God, Meghan Markle claims the royal family were racist, how dare she doesn't accept? That's the way it goes, guys. We're not stupid, okay? There's no situation where a black person would even bother going to the British public with claims of racism, because we know how you will respond to it in this toxic and aggressive manner. You will attack us for it. So we keep it to ourselves.
Fascinating and pretty devastating piece in The Guardian, of all places, which looked at two claims in particular, one of which was that a pig's head was left at his parents' door in South London.
The Guardian, of all places, The Guardian has been one of the main outlets that have been against Professor Arday. So I don't know what you meant, why he said of all places there.
Arday claims that he reported this to the police, that the police even found the butcher from which the hog was purchased. The Metropolitan Police have no record of any such investigation taking place. And he also claims that whilst he was in post at Cambridge, he was menaced by a masked man on 2 occasions, the second time with a knife. And yet it seems that he didn't report this to the police. And also he didn't mention it to any of his colleagues, nor is there any CCTV footage to back up what he was saying. So from top to bottom, if the critics turn out to be
important in an incident like that, once again, depends on exactly what the nature of it was. Okay, if it was a case of the person had, which is likely been the case, if it was like a racial intimidation thing and the person had warned him, you had better not go to the police about this, otherwise XYZ, and that might explain why he wouldn't do that. Now, obviously, these people don't appreciate the fact that when people, particularly black people in this country, assume positions of higher status, places where it brings them into the public eye and lots of people don't want them there, they are exposed to a level of danger that this guy will never ever comprehend, and they will scoff at you and they won't believe it's true. He's never spoken to a black academic who should tell him before. Like I've spoken to, let me tell you particularly about a particular black academic who I speak to relatively often, and he actually calls me up every 6 months or so just to check on me. Are you okay? This is a PhD. Calls me up and says, are you okay? They haven't done anything to you, have they? They haven't. He's consistently worried for me. Now, this isn't because he's paranoid. This is because as a black academic, he's experienced things, which I tend not to press or pry into, but I can read between the lines. He's experienced things, several things, because of the kind of research he does that offends white people. And they become aggressive, they become violent, they plan things. And so he lives outside of that paradigm. So he won't understand this and he won't care to understand it. And even as I'm speaking, he would likely scoff at the things I'm saying. But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't make them any less true.
Be true. This is kind of beyond Jussie Smollett levels of fantastical storytelling, shall we say.
None of that's been disproven. Okay. So you can just say we don't have evidence for it. He said it's happened. He never claimed that he reported it to the police. And he's saying, well, but not reporting it to the police means that it never happened. No, it doesn't. You just don't know what you're talking about. That's respectfully. You don't know what you're talking about. This is outside of your realm of understanding. You could get to the bottom of this by inviting Dr. Arday on for an interview, which I'm sure you would never do because you've also said he's loyal up to the gills, whatever the hell that means.
And of course, naturally, he was originally defended on the grounds that this was essentially a racist smear campaign. And I think it wasn't, let's just say, I think it wasn't a coincidence that his resignation coincided with Cambridge and Jesus College, where he also had a post, quietly opening investigations into him, finally having dug in and defended him for so long. So at least this chapter of it is over, but what a story it's been so far.
Well, yeah, and the cherry on the cake is that some have accused his resignation statement of being entirely AI generated.
Yes.
Jacob.
But so what if it was? This is another thing. It's kind of like these people get such a hard on for these situations. It's like, I've run it through a thingy and it said that it came with the feedback that it's 100% AI generated. He couldn't even write his own resignation. Like, who the hell, like, not being funny, but in 2026, yeah, if you're still writing cover letters, thingy letters, that's AI, man. Who the hell's writing a resignation? Who's doing that? If I need to complain to one of my kids' schools about something, do you think I'm sitting there drafting a letter like this is flipping, 2018 or something? No, I'm gonna flipping I'm gonna go to ChatGPT and be like, yeah, this is what happened. Draft me a letter of complaint from the school so I can get an appointment with X, Y, and Z. And ChatGPT will chuck it up in a second. That's literally a legitimate use of ChatGPT. Is a resignation letter. Okay, this is what I've been through. Blah blah blah. Write me a resignation letter. Boom. Who cares? I don't care. Why are these guys acting like you do? Is your resignation letter marked? Is it passed to other PhDs for peer review? No, it's a flipping letter where he just wanted to explain why he was no longer in that position anymore. You guys are sick. I'm just telling you. That's it.
Is there anything you want to pick out of this scandal, first of all?
Yeah, well, I think it's kind of aside from being just hilarious at times, it's kind of revealing, I think, for two reasons. One is that
hilarious, glee, entertainment. Notice all these words they use. They're so happy about it. Can you? I just want you to watch this and understand how happy they are. As they can, it's essentially Britain for again to be a situation where they're guys, I'm gonna reschedule because I'm I'm gonna reschedule, guys. This is I don't know what's going on here, but this is unbearable. Okay. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.